Good morning, everybody. We'll be started in just a little bit here. Of course, spoiler warning. We're going full-on spoilers this morning. Talking about that new episode of WandaVision. Tap that like if you would be so kind. And we'll be started in just a minute. All right, folks. All right, ladies and gentlemen. As we begin to get started, let us know in the chat, on a scale from 1 to 10, how do you rate this episode? Let us know in the chat. And we will get started in just a hot second. Wow, a lot of high scores. Holy cow. A 2? Oh, man. A little too meta. Yeah. That's all good. All right. Yeah, let's just get it started. Let's get it popping. Folks, I am taking this one just solo here. After episode 5 of WandaVision. Pretty freaking crazy. So the way this works, just if you've never been to one of these streams before, full on spoilers, first of all. Spoilers warning. We're going to talk about the episode. I'm going to kind of just talk about some things that I thought were crazy in the episode, things that were revealed. And then we'll get into Q&A. We'll run through some super chats, but we'll also just hang out in the chat together and just talk about what is going on. My head, quite honestly, is still kind of spinning from this one. This was a pretty ridiculous episode. I would say probably the best episode of the season yet. And I also just really appreciate and I like just the fact that the show has been secure enough in its own sort of mid-season and ending that it was willing to sort of string us along a little bit more slowly at the beginning of the show. Because now you fully get, like, the idea and the investment of what the WandaVision show is. And, you know, it's really interesting because there's a moment in this episode where even Wanda says, like, what do you think? Like, I'm controlling everybody in this town. Like, I'm making them, like, go walk their dogs. I'm making them do this, that, second, and the third. And you can kind of see her own mind begin to get anxious with regards to that, okay? But here's the other side of this. When she came out of Westview, that did not seem like a person that was confused at all. That seemed like a person that was quite sure of themselves, knew exactly what was happening, and also was speaking in her pure Sokovian, like, actual accented way, which is really, really interesting. Yeah, really, really interesting. Of course, you know, the show itself, so we'll just sort of go through it, guys. I'll just kind of take us through some of the crazy things that happen. And I will be looking into the chat, and we'll just kind of be going over this together. But, like, the whole ridiculous thing is about the children. One of the first things that happens is sort of this setup that the children won't just listen to Wanda, and she can't just bend them to her whim the way that she can seemingly everybody else in Westview, right? They won't stop crying. It's like a big bummer, of course. And then wrapped up into this scene, of course, is Agnes coming over. And this is where we get that really bizarre part that I'm sure people will be looking over a ton and sort of dissecting. And this is when Agnes says, you know, we're ready to take it from the top. She's essentially ready and aware of whatever Wanda is doing to the WandaVision show and to the people of Westview, right? Crazy. And Vision is noticing it as well. And Vision is beginning to get uncomfortable and notice that, you know, Wanda is loosening up. She says something to the effect of, I don't feel like hiding anymore. You know what I mean? Really, really weird stuff. Now, on the outside of the bubble, outside of Westview, we pick up with Monica. And I do just want to say, too, the actress that's playing Monica Rambeau, fantastic job. Fantastic job. Really cool to have her in the show in this way. It's going to set that character up for a lot of success moving forward because, you know, I'll be honest, when I heard that Monica Rambeau was going to be in WandaVision, and I heard that a long time ago, I was like, how's that going to work? You know what I mean? But she's nailing it. Regardless, she comes out of the bubble. She can't remember exactly what happened. There's a large concern, of course, due to her own testimony and her debriefing, that Wanda is, I mean, in Hayward's mind, like a terrorist, right? You know, and this is sort of the reveal that we get in episode 4 is that she is in control. She's the one pulling the strings here. So when Monica takes that information to Hayward and everybody else at Sword, I mean, he obviously gets really, really concerned. She brilliantly devises a plan to bring in a drone from the time period that they're naturally in order to get to Wanda. And then Hayward, like, takes a shot at her with a missile, okay? And then this is when she, you know, comes out. But back inside the bubble, this is still in the scene with Agnes. The twins get aged up. This was weird for me because who's aging these kids up? I think we're led to believe that the kids are aging themselves up later on in the show, right? That's sort of what we're led to believe. But Agnes's place in all of this is really interesting. She seemed fully aware. And it's the way she said, like, kids, you can't control them no matter how hard you try, was really bizarre. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's important to keep this in mind. It's heavily rumored and suggested that the children themselves are the whole key to this whole show. Because one of the very first things that happens in episode 1 is Agnes coming into their home that they just entered as newlyweds. And one of the first things Agnes is talking about is how it's such a big place, all to herself. And literally she starts planting the idea of children almost right away. Okay? Now, you know, again, spoilers, but it's rumored that Agnes will actually be the character of Agatha Harkness and will be being manipulated by Mephisto or the Mephisto Nightmare combo kind of character. Regardless, we see that scene take place. It's really, really weird. The kids get aged up. Again, Vision is like sort of onto it, onto what is happening. Interestingly, Vision goes to work because Wanda and he are arguing. Vision won't just let it go. He's like, Wanda, like, the hell, basically, So she literally sends him to work on a Saturday. And wives everywhere were like, if only, Really interesting, like bizarre. And then the children notice this as well. The children notice this as well. It's a bizarre happening, bizarre situation. I also think that the scene with the dog is really interesting because the dog becomes an allegory for like love and loss later on. Okay, so they sort of find this stray dog, and man, I gotta tell you, the possible implications of what is going on with that dog allegory that is sad, dude. That is sad. So, anyways, I believe this happens. I could be screwing this up slightly, but I believe there is then a section of the show where, around the same time, where Vision is at work after being sent to work by Wanda. And they're learning about the computers, and he gets a communication from S.W.O.R.D. from outside. Okay? This is Darcy probably trying to warn people inside of what Wanda is doing after, learning more about what she's actually doing, from Monica. So Vision, interestingly, sort of is able to shut off Wanda's power on Norm, or like actually speak to the real Norm. And this shit was terrifying. Yo, she is... And it was a little bit messed up too when you find out that Monica was like in pain and shit too. Like whatever Wanda's doing to these people is like super not okay, right? But, kudos to the actor that plays Norm, because that scene was incredible. He snaps into this mode and like you feel it. Like you feel for this guy and you're like, "Oh no." Because you love Wanda too, right? You're like, oh no, Wanda, no, Wanda, why no, Wanda, no, heart-wrenching. So that happens, and then Vision, of course, comes back to the house. He has his Paul Bettany face on, and he makes this comment about how he's sure Agnes or someone will pop up, and then Agnes pops up right with what they require, which is the doghouse for the dog. Also, in the meanwhile, the kids age themselves up. Well, no, it's actually in this scene. They age themselves up because Vision and Wanda agree that they need to be 10 to have the dog. And they just age themselves up again. But, I do find it interesting that every time they age themselves up, Agnes is there. And even the time when they almost do it when the dog is dead, Agnes is there once again. Okay? But anyways, they end up having a fight, but this is when the drone comes in. Okay, so this is when the Hayward drone kind of flies in. They have this whole thing, and then this is where, of course, Wanda comes out of the bubble. Now, this was crazy. I think her walking out of Westview like that, especially because she's in her traditional Scarlet Witch outfit, meaning she literally probably just went right to the S.W.O.R.D. base, stole Vision's body, which is another thing we learn through S.W.O.R.D., which is amazing. We learned that like just 9 days ago, she probably just went into the S.W.O.R.D. facility, jacked Vision's body, came to Westview, and resurrected him. It's so crazy. But regardless, she just literally comes out and kind of confirms to everybody that, yeah, she is this strong. She is warping reality. She's kind of not going to stop. And, yeah, just get over it. I thought the scene was incredible. I thought she killed it. The Sokovian accent comes back. I don't know what that means. Maybe a little bit of trauma or something there, Regardless, we go back inside, and Wanda and Vision beefing once again, And this was really interesting because he's really trying to like fully understand, and he's like going at her about the Norm thing and just about how the situation is wrong. He's freaking out about how he's afraid. He doesn't even remember his life. It's like actually incredible work by Bettany. Like he really, I mean, I think it's these little like moments with these incredible actors that pulls out all the juice of like this good writing and this good storytelling in a scene like that, where you can have someone really just emphasize those emotions and portray that. Oh, it's powerful stuff, man. He really killed it. And as all that is heating up, Pietro, the spoiler that everybody will be talking about, that was of course leaked, that was before being leaked, reported on for a long time. Interestingly enough, Wanda says, what does she say? I didn't do this, but you don't believe me, do you? And what I find interesting about that is Sword and Darcy actually say that Wanda recast Pietro. But if Wanda's saying she didn't do it, then Wanda did not recast Pietro, at least not willingly. Right? So let's talk about this. Who is that Pietro? Why is it Evan Peters? Which, by the way, yes, we did call it. We reported on it. I saw some people apologizing and shit. You don't have to apologize. I totally understand people being skeptical. It's the internet. It's all good, man. Yeah, so Evan Peters, what does it mean? Look, we're going to have to wait and see with this, of course. You know, as we talked about in the preview video and in some of the previous live streams, it's sort of a mid-season trailer is where a lot of the leaked images come from. So those are likely in next week's episode and maybe even the weeks following. It was interesting how they show his hair specifically like that. Kevin Feige wants you to know that that's Evan Peters, the Quicksilver from the X-Men films. This is only the beginning of this multiverse bizarro world that is happening, and likely the same reason we see J. Jonah Jameson in a slightly different iteration in Far From Home. This might be the beginning of it. This might be the beginning of the craziness. And it's so clearly, I believe, the actual Pietro from the Fox X-Men. The way he talks, the way he jokes, it's Evan Peters. It's that Quicksilver. He's not doing a impression of the MCU one, you know? So, crazy. Like, awesome. Bizarre. What does it mean? You know? Who knows? But as we sort of head towards, like, this crazy multiverse stuff, I really do think that there's something going on there with the multiverse. This is not so simple as a fun little tease Easter egg thing. Although, to be fair, the jury is still out on that. It could end up being just a crazy, you know, cameo thing. Couple other really interesting things from the episode, and then I'll get into the Q&A, and we'll hang out for like 30 minutes or 40 minutes just doing Q&A. I really liked. I'm gonna be complete. I'm gonna say a thing. I really like. Oh yeah, the astrophysicist. We'll talk about that in a second. I really like how Monica did not like it when Captain Marvel's name was brought up. I like that, because to me, what it's kind of like, we know Monica is going to be around Captain Marvel, and moving forward, they're probably going to be hanging out and stuff. They have history, obviously. Captain Marvel doesn't really hang out on Earth all that much. I'm sure Monica would have loved to be hanging out with Auntie Carol a little bit more. So she probably in some ways feels betrayed by her. And I also just think it's interesting that she's like Team Wanda and not Team Carol. That's just interesting, you know, just something I thought was kind of cool. I appreciate all the super chats. We'll get into them in just a second. So I saw a couple big ones come in. I appreciate it. Give me just a second. What's the other thing? Oh yeah, the astrophysicist. Who knows for sure? All kinds of things. I mean, look, Reed Richards. Of course, dude. That would blow my fucking mind if they did that. It could be someone else from Sword they want to set up. I don't know. Could be a scroll expert, could be any number of things. Hank Pym, I don't know. All sorts of people it could be. I'm sure the internet is hard at work trying to uncover it right now. I know a lot of people think it's Lawrence Fishburne, Goliath from the Ant-Man stuff. Totally could be. So that's going to be really, really cool. I also felt like the Kevlar thing, how Wanda had sort of transformed the Kevlar into the actual thing was very interesting, man. Whatever's going on there with her powers is pretty incredible. Okay. All right, let's start knocking out these super chats. Guys, we're going to get into the Q&A portion of this stream. Drop a super chat in if you want to guarantee your question gets answered. Drop a super chat in. There's a couple of you watching now, actually. I just noticed. What's up, everybody? If you want to get your question answered, drop a super chat in. I'll go over all of them that I can within reason. If you don't have any loot, don't worry about it. In all seriousness, times is hard out there. So just throw your question in. I'll grab some from the chat as well. Christian with the $5 holler says, was Agnes Lavender what aged the kids? Wanda doesn't seem to have control of her kids from what I could tell. Yeah, that's totally fair. I'm not sure what's up with the Lavender. I mean, maybe. But again, at the very least, it's interesting that it seems like Agnes is like always there, especially when it's about the kids, from seemingly conception to now. And I don't think she has control of the kids either. She tried to make them be quiet, right? And it didn't work. James says, Magneto gotta be the Luke Walker reveal with Evan as Quicksilver. Okay, let me talk about this for a second. I do appreciate this. I'm sure this will come up several times throughout the stream. All right, let me take a sip of my Wanda real quick. Okay, listen. Guys. Lizzie McGuire, Jesus Christ. Lizzie Olsen never said those words. She never said there's a cameo on the level of Luke Skywalker. There was a person that asked her a question that was phrased like that, and she sort of gave an answer to it and talked about how she was surprised it hadn't leaked. I think, and many others think, she was referring to the Evan Peters thing. I think the Evan Peters thing is the big reveal. Is Evan Peters on the level of Luke Skywalker? No goddamn way. To be honest, I was sort of struggling with anybody that it could be that would be on the level of Luke Skywalker, which is exactly why, like, if Lizzie had actually said that, I would actually be upset a little bit with her, because that's like kind of ridiculous to say. But she didn't actually say it. She just kind of got jebaited, and then it got clickbaited all over the internet. But it's the internet. What can you do? Magneto would be dope, though. James, don't get me wrong. I would love Magneto. Mark Robinson, welcome to the Nerd Vengers. You're a Nerd Venger now. Stevie with the $20 holla says, I don't think she's in control of the whole thing, but can control what she interacts with in order to keep the illusion. Like an actor can control their performance, but the director is in charge. She's not the director. That's interesting. And I think there's some truth to that, but there's sort of some contradicting things going on in my brain about it. Number one, she seems pretty cognizant when she's able to literally just grab the drone, walk out, and just kind of stunt, Seemed like she was pretty much in full control in that situation. But there are other things, of course, like the stork and then her kids and different things. She doesn't seem like she's in full control. And then there's that moment where her and Vision are arguing, and she says, like, I don't remember how this all started, So maybe it's a thing like when she's in Westview, even she is sort of under the spell a little bit of whatever's going on. Not 100% on that, but yeah, there's still a mystery there. And I do think it's pretty obvious that it's not fully Wanda. Agnes at this point, like, if you can't see that Agnes is the devil on her shoulder, then what show you watching, man? Jonathan, welcome to the Nerd Vengers. You're a Nerd Venger now. Welcome. Eddie says, I'm convinced Agnes is being controlled. Also, how she shows up on cue and Vision awakens her later in a car like Norm did. Yo, great point, Eddie. I want to go back and watch that trailer. Does he touch her head to snap her out of that? Because you're absolutely right. She is being controlled, but I don't think it's by Wanda. I don't think it's by Wanda, my friend. I think it's Mephisto, maybe. Look in the mirror at 33:32. Oh, no. Am I going to get scared, though? I don't want to get scared, Randy. I mean, I'll check that out later, but I ain't trying to get, like... I ain't trying to get all scared like that. You know what I mean? So... Christian with the very generous $100 donation says, I'm a broke college kid, so I wouldn't expect a bunch of these, but when I get out and get a job, you got some more coming your way. I want to let you know I love the content and I love the watch parties. Just recently became a member. Keep up the good work. Look, brother, that is so generous. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Definitely don't got to do that, especially if it puts you out. That's not good for anybody, but we do appreciate the support, and I'm glad you're in the members, man. You know, we take that pretty seriously. We try to provide a lot of value for you guys, so it's a cool community, and we're glad that it's growing the way that it is. Thank you, Christian, for real. Appreciate that, man. Jay Workman 99 with the $20 holla says maybe Evan Peters Quicksilver ran through the multiverse to here after the Westchester incident out of grief, looking for another version of the dead sister he had lost in the X-Men movies. Wow. That's pretty cool, man. I like where your brain is at with that. That's an interesting concept. So what Jay Workman is kind of saying here is he thinks Evan Peters Quicksilver has some autonomy in what just happened, which is interesting. He, you know, something else that happened in the show that was really interesting is when shit, I lost it. 5 a.m. brain not working super great. I just think it's fascinating that like Wanda literally tells Vision that wasn't me, and then that's Quicksilver. You know? Oh, here's what it was. This is the other thing I found weird. Didn't it seem like both the kids were aging themselves up when really shouldn't that just be Billy that's doing that? Like Speed shouldn't be able to age himself up like that, right? So wasn't it bizarre? Didn't it seem like they were both just looking at each other and being like, yeah, let's both use our powers at the same time? Like that was crazy. I don't know what's going on there, but it's interesting. And I like where your head's at with the Evan Peters, because he's looking for his dead sister. I dig it. I dig where your head's at with that. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. Mike Motherflippin' Porter says, is this the most complex project ever in the MCU? I think so, yeah. I am totally blown away. The multiverse door is open now. MCU rules, and they keep proving it. Yeah, Mike, this is crazy, man. You know, for them to take a whole year off and then have the balls to do a show like this. I mean, we've talked about it. It didn't really pick up for people, man. You know, the first 4 episodes left a lot to be desired for, like, normies and people that aren't super into Marvel. And so I do think it's pretty ballsy for them to do something so weird and different. But the complexity of the show is fascinating. It is literally, like, so meta that like you can almost get lost in the labyrinth of trying to figure out to which degree is each meta point like talking directly to me as a Marvel fan, because it kind of feels like the show is, oh, you guys like taking our trailers apart and ruining everything for everybody. Oh, you think you're real clever the way you can go find a freaking Funko leak and then surmise this, and oh, you think you're real cool? Well, we're gonna make a whole show that is that. It's almost what it feels like, where it's like you're not even going to be able to figure out the plot as you watch the fucking show. How do you like it now? You know, Feige basically is like, you know, how do you like it now? To the nerds. Yeah, but I like it. I like it a lot, if you're asking Feige. Dalium says, what if this Pietro is her brother, as this is the Wanda from the Days of Future Past and not the MCU Wanda? What is she doing in the MCU? You know, I've thought about that too. Could it be possible this is not the MCU Wanda? Okay, I'm going to say something that is going to get used less and less when talking about the MCU over the next couple of years, and that is the phrase, "That's just too crazy." So while we can, before we take off into liftoff into the stratosphere of insanity, let's pump the brakes. And as we're just establishing this, I think it's a little too crazy to have the Wanda for your WandaVision show not actually be the Wanda from your universe. Just a little too crazy to start with. Don't worry. Eventually, I think we will get to that kind of stuff. Scott says, so the multiverse already open? I thought he would come into the show after Wanda breaks the multiverse. You mean Doctor Strange? Yeah. Perhaps it's breaking already, or perhaps what she first did broke it. But, you know, the other side of this, too, not to get super crazy with the spoilers, is in the House of M, it is the fact that she has these kids that people are telling her are not real and that she has to let go of, or she's doing all this damage. That's what sets her off and actually causes like real bad stuff to happen. So imagine if the Westview bubble was the entire Earth, which Wanda can actually probably pretty easily do, you know? And then it's going to be interesting to see what happens at the end of the show when they start to realize that, and how Doctor Strange is going to be involved to hopefully help, you know, shut that shit down. Agnes literally watched the kids grow up both times. She's too aware of everything. Yeah, totally agree. I don't know what it is, but it ain't good. Jasmine says, I don't think it's Wanda. I think it's Agnes. People are never saying it's Wanda. I think she is placed there and Vision. Yeah, I think I see what you're saying, Jasmine. I'm going to be real, though. I think Wanda is definitely partially at fault. There's just no way she can walk out of... Because that's Wanda when she walks out of Westview. Like, the costume, accent, the way she speaks... She knows what she's talking about. So I do think Agnes is responsible, or Wanda is responsible, but I agree with you that Agnes is the devil on her shoulder, likely. Fit at Home Premium. Welcome to the Nerd Vengers. You're a Nerd Venger now. And Chappie, welcome to the Nerd Vengers as well. You are a Nerd Venger as well. Jonathan Bray with a $10 holla says, I believe Agnes does want the kids, and we are going towards a House of M storyline. I think she killed the dog, right? To try to make the kids age up again. Whoa. Dude, you might be onto something there. She might have wanted to age the kids up. You're right, dude. I think she was also trying to get them to understand. I think she and Mephisto want the kids to turn against Wanda. And can't you start to see that already being drawn a little bit? Yeah. Tabitha the Goat with the $1 holla with no message. Thank you. CA says, Evan Peters Quicksilver is a misdirect. He's definitely Mephisto. Thoughts? Could be. I don't want to completely rule it out. But I think there's much more evidence to suggest that Agnes and perhaps even Dottie or some of those people are more attached to Mephisto. And whoever this Ralph character is, I mean, I think that's more the way to go. I think that literally this is the Fox X-Men Evan Peters, and what they're trying to establish here is basically buckle up, motherfuckers. Like, shit's about to get weird. Like Tobey Maguire as Uncle Ben. Weird. Like weird. You know? So, but that's just my thoughts. CA, who knows for sure. We'll find out together. Apar says, what did Duncan Girl think of the episode before she left your pad? She wasn't here. I did a watch party, doy, for the members. You would know that, Apar, if you weren't, whatever. Dennis Williams with a $20 holla says, random thought, when things come through the field, they stay changed, but Wanda was in her Avengers gear. Is it possible the housewife Wanda we see is a projection and the real Wanda is behind the camera watching and editing. That's a very interesting theory. There could be something to that, because again, it did seem weird that she's like totally in control out of the bubble, but then even in her like discussions with Vision and stuff, it did seem like, you know, she's like, I don't know how this started, you know, like I can't possibly be doing all of this, etc., etc. There could be something to that, man, you know, and because it's resurrection, a lot of people, I think the theory is right now is that she made a literal deal with the devil to bring Vision back, and the deal included a bargain for the kids, you know, so I think mostly Billy. I think Billy is the devil's prize. Emmanuel says, I'm sure this cameo Paul Bettany was talking about, though, right? So, hard to say. You know, probably. And I think we'll find out soon. Probably around Monday, all the actors will feel more comfortable talking about the spoilers and stuff like that, right? So, you know, if it was who he was referring to, there's no reason he won't comment on that, and we'll probably find out. But it's possible it was someone else as well. I mean, look, yeah, I think he'll have some cool scenes with Pietro, and that's going to be great. And I think the last time he has worked with Evan Peters before, but it was a long time ago. So, could be. I'm still holding out hope for Al Pacino Mephisto. Come on, let's make it happen, Feige. Come on now. Kang says, it's your turn on audio description from Pietro's scene. It says he's Quicksilver from the X-Men films. Well, how about that? Cool. Good to know, Kang. Appreciate you, bro. Random person says, do you think Rhodey could be the aerospace engineer Monaco's reaching out to? That would actually be really cool as well. And he knows Wanda, too, so that could be really cool. Look, I actually kind of am leaning towards us seeing several Avengers by the end of the show. Not just Doc Strange. Several Avengers by the end of the show. But who knows? Alonso Law says, so my question has nothing to do with WandaVision, but I'm interested in your thoughts on Earth X in the MCU. I think it could happen with FF. It sure could. They could bring in like a version of it, maybe in What If. They'll touch on that. But I'll tell you this, I strongly believe that when we do get to the Secret Wars, which absolutely is what this is all really headed towards, that hopefully we get some Earth X characters, or at least some of those designs, sort of paid homage to in the film. You know, look, Reed Richards in the Doctor Doom armor is one of the coolest things in comics. So, yeah, there's a lot of cool Earth X stuff that they could do. Jay Beatty said, how did they know what happened in the end game fight scene? Like they were able to watch it like a movie. Yeah, maybe they were. I don't know. Maybe it was recreated by somebody. Maybe there was satellite imaging of it. Who knows? Sword especially would probably have that kind of evidence, you know what I mean? But it's a fair point. Jake A. Stock, welcome to the Nerdvengers. You are a Nerdvenger now. Knock a couple more of these out, and then I'm going to see what's going on in the chat. Jerome Moore says, Tyler Hayward as Mephisto, a.k.a. Ralph. I'm actually leaning more towards him being a Skrull, but he could be Mephisto, but, like, why would he be doing all this stuff if he's Mephisto? Like, trying to blast Wanda, his own men are shooting at him. If he's actually Mephisto doing a deal to get the kids, why would he? Like, he's not going to get... Yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't know about that. Dalium says, I want X-Men Evan Peters, not secretly Mephisto. I think you're going to be Gucci. Dean says, Al Pacino as Mephisto in all caps. Let's go! That shit would be lit. By the way, there's like 2,400 people in here and less than 500 likes. I'm not a greedy man. So just 2,000 likes minimum. Daniel Dodd says, Josh, I know I already asked before if you think Mephisto could be a deviant. But beyond that, do you think the Eternals or Celestials could have anything to do with what's going on here in WandaVision? considering the CMBR. Well, the CMBR is certainly a key to it. You know, one of the things I'm interested in when it comes to Eternals is what do they have to say about the stones, man? What do they have to say about the Infinity Stones? How did they let this happen? If the Eternals are really like as dope as we think they will be and as powerful, and they were on Earth during the events of a lot of the MCU, then like what were you guys doing? Y'all weren't really doing much. I'm just going to say it. You kind of fucked it up. You had one chance. You had one job. Aren't you supposed to be the Guardians? Anyway. So that's something I'm really interested in. The stones themselves and their connection to the Big Bang, some of those, you know, universal principles that we think are at play in the quantum sense. Very interesting stuff. I don't know, man. I really don't think they're going to go that route with Mephisto. I'm interested in what they're doing to Mephisto. You know, there keeps all these fake leaks keep coming out with Mephisto. And it's like weird because I'm starting to believe like we'll never actually see Mephisto as a demon in the show. Because like it just keeps leaking and then getting debunked. Like they're all fake. Every time you see like a devil looking thing that's like, oh, here's Mephisto. No, it's fake. There's not been a real one. Trust me, I would know. So, who knows? Who knows about that? Angry Black Man Media, awesome name, says, when Quicksilver shows sword alarm goes off, why? I'm going to have to rewatch it, actually. That's really interesting if that's true. That's really interesting. I have no idea, man. I have no idea. I'll have to watch that again. Aaron, welcome to the Nerd Vengers. You're a Nerd Venger now. Kang says, do you think we will get Mephisto because of China? Yeah, I mean, that's partially why I'm concerned. I'm just going to be honest. Yeah, for sure. It's partially why I'm concerned. I feel like they'll do a version of Mephisto and blend him with the Nightmare character to make him not as purely satanic and occult. And I'm just like, boo. I want the devil. Matt Salami says, hey, Josh, my wife and I are big fans. Thanks for all the content. Do you know what 1980s shows the intro was mimicking? No, I don't know the 1980s show that the intro was mimicking. I could have like Googled it real quick and tried to act all cool, Matt, but nah, man, I'm too tired and lame to do that. I appreciate you and your wife appreciating the content. That's cool. Hope my swearing doesn't turn you guys off too bad. I swear like an Australian. That's what I've come to realize. I try not to do it, but it is kind of just me. So my bad. But no, what was the show that they was mimicking? I'll look into the chat. It wasn't Full House, right? No. Was Full House even in the 80s? I feel like Full House was in the 90s anyway. Clarence Johnson, $1 chat. No message. James says, what if Evan is Mephisto? A lot of people keep saying that, dude. And there was a red hand. There's a red hand at 3023 on the mirror. Whoa. Okay. I'll have to look for that red hand, James. Thank you so much, man. I really don't think Evan Peters is Mephisto, bro. I really don't think so. I think he's Quicksilver. Which is, like, weird enough. You know what I mean? But I appreciate you. Richard Ganther says, Monica texting Reed Richards or Ben Grimm. They showed up in the last episode, and we can get the Fantastic Four casting announcement. Or is it too early? Look, man, I haven't heard anything to indicate that that is what's happening. So let's just be real. I haven't heard a goddamn thing about that. However, that would be so fantastic. Pause. That would be really cool. That would be pretty brilliant if they actually did that. So, yeah, I would dig that. Jonathan Paul says, possible Wanda opened up multiverse when she walked back into the Hex and used her magic on the energy field to re-entry, hence X-Men Quicksilver. That's a cool theory. That is a very cool theory. Very possible. I see what you're saying. So, like, she was out, then she came back in. So maybe like her affecting the magic of it. Yeah, there could be something there. Nick Clark says, dude, that commercial was a gut punch to Wanda. Yeah. Agreed. It's pretty weird what they're doing with all that. You know what I mean? Trauma. Okay, I'm looking at the chat. And I'll keep going over super chats as they come into. And I'm probably only going to go for like 15 or 20 more minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just a little tired. Does the aerospace engineer that Monica... who? We don't know who, Sean. Thank you for the support. Appreciate you. But we have no idea. There's a lot of theories. A lot of theories on it, but nobody knows for sure. Let's see here. Chandler says, if the Vision still has his powers, does that mean Wanda fully recreated the Mind Stone, making it a part of the MCU again? And could this be how they bring all the stones back? So I think there's a couple of good thoughts in there, man. A lot of people think that this show might have something to do with bringing the stones back, or that it'll at least introduce the concept of the stones not actually being gone because, you know, they're atomized, so they might still exist technically, just not in a molecular form, right? So very possible. Does Vision have his powers back? I don't know. He obviously has some degree of them back. Is he really resurrected? I don't know. Seems strong, but not strong enough to actually come up against Wanda. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thing. Growing Pains and Full House. Okay, cool. Evan Peters plays Quicksilver in the 80s in this episode. Based on the 80s. Oh, yeah, he is in the 80s. And this was in the 80s. Yo, the nerd. Or who's Jay Moran. Well done, Jay. Well done. Quite astute of you. Jeff says, Papa Magneto cameo in the Modern Family episode would be so dope. Dude, Jeff, you're talking my language, man. If we get Ian McKellen as Papa Magneto, I'm going to lose my fucking mind, dude. That is dope. That's incredible. I really want it, but like I kind of don't want to even talk about it so much because I don't think it's happening. I don't want to get excited. I really and truly do not think that's on the table, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know. Alex Ockler says the intro is based on family ties. Do you think Dottie is Arcana Jones? Arcana Jones is married to Phil Jones in the comics. My theory actually is that Dottie might well be Clea. That's what I think. She might be Clea, who will be in Doctor Strange 2 as well. Interesting, huh? Trauma Urshels. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Wanda parents were named in the show, and it wasn't Magneto. That's true. Do you think that's reality case or a misdirect? Well, technically with the Evan Peters thing, it means what Sword thinks is real outside of the bubble does not necessarily have to be the end all, be all. So within that, I think you'll find your answer, hopefully. Is Ned going to be Hobgoblin in Spider-Man 3? It does appear that they are headed that way, yeah. I hope he meets an alternate reality version of the Hobgoblin, though, that kind of talks to him about it. And he's like, you think Pete is your friend? Some shit like that would be cool. Magneto was the stepfather. Read the comics. In all caps, says R.J. Walters. Okay. So, Fat Hobgoblin? Well, first of all, Fin Fang Foom, have you seen him lately? He lost like 6 million pounds. He's not fat anymore, is my point. So, yeah. The Wanda that left Westview is not Wanda. It's Mephisto. Her accent came back when she left. I agree that there's something weird going on there. I don't know that it is that exact thing. I do not think it was... I do not think... No, I don't buy into that. But there's something going on there. Yeah. How long have I been awake for? I don't know, man. A while. Those red eyes from Wanda, though, don't mess with her. I know. Super intimidating, dude. She does a great crazy, bro. She does a great crazy. It's real great. What's in the mirror at 3323? People are saying it's like a red hand or some kind of hint at Mephisto or something. The audio description straight up says the X-Men version of Quicksilver. Motherfuckers, I've been saying that for like 9 months. Anyway, sorry, I shouldn't yeah. There is no hand. I haven't looked at it. James Spader, voice of Ultron, starts in the show Blacklist. The episode is most... Yeah, look, I'd love to see Ultron and Spader come back. That'd be sick, dude. Come on now. Come on now. Holy crap, Ned looks great. I done told you. I done told you. Gotta get in that, that goblin shape, the hobgoblin shape. Dean says, I'm still wondering where and how James Spader Ultron voice plays into all this. Is that confirmed, though? I don't know if that's confirmed. I mean, I think it's very possible, but I don't know if I've ever seen any hard evidence on that. But Ultron could play any number of roles. Remember that Ultron's brain is used to create Vision. Vision is a combination of the Mind Stone, Ultron, and Jarvis. So, Ultron could be technically reverse engineered out of Vision. Miguel Hook says, do you think Doctor Strange will show up? I do, bro. I do. I think at least one episode and hopefully a lot of screen time. Because, look, Feige wants you to be super excited for Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch to be teaming up in Doctor Strange 2. So I would imagine he's going to put them together and have them do some cool-ass magic shit at the end of the show so that we're all like, yo, I can't wait to see Doc Strange 2. Let's go! Rank the episode? I don't necessarily like to do that, but I'll give it a 9. I'll give it a straight 9. Bro, Quicksilver from the X-Men. Yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy. She's doing an American accent to perform the role of an American housewife. Ooh, I like that, Emma. Emma B. That is a good point, Emma B. I like that point. Nine all day? Yeah, great episode, though. Real great. Could he be in Vision waiting? Ultron? Yeah, could be. Definitely. That would be really cool, actually. Jonathan says, last episode, Darcy said the CMB levels were stable for now. What happens if they become unstable? Might this be how they break the multiverse? I do think that could be how they break the multiverse. It would make sense and line up with what happens in House of M for sure, dude. Dennis Williams says, have Ultron's voice as like an Amazon Echo or something. That'd be kind of funny, dude. That'd be really funny if that was how they did it. That'd be kind of trolly. I saw somebody say Elizabeth Olsen deserves an Emmy or something. I totally agree. Whatever accolades you give to actors, yeah, she should get all of them. I think she's doing a great job. Master Pandemonium. Wow, what a deep cut. That'd be pretty cool. Why not? Throw him in. That'd be cool. Sword director is super sus, says Omar. I agree. I think he's a Skrull. What do I think happens next? I think actually the X-Men thing with Evan Peters is going to be explored a little bit more through the episode. I think Vision and Wanda will continue to divide. The kids will continue to age up. Wanda will sort of lose control. Yeah, that's sort of where I think it's going to head to. So, does Monica have powers? The nurse or doctor seemed a tad nervous over the lab exams. That's a great point, Nick. I think that does have something to do with the powers that she has. And also, there's a little thing from episode 4 where Monica says that there's no longer the word creation on Sword. And Sword is like all about observing weapons, but presumably what she's talking about is the fact that they maybe used to create weapons, and maybe they tried to replicate what they did to Carol, or what happened to Carol, to Monica or something like that, giving her the powers that she has. We haven't seen her really use them yet, though, have we? And And perhaps those powers, now that Wanda's messed with her, are going to manifest even more. Who knows? Tobias says, how about Monica's scan and blood work? Oh, we just sort of touched on that. I hope you don't mind me kind of just, you know, see previous answer sort of thing. Joaquin says, you think her subconscious brought in her brother from when she left and returned into the bubble? Huh. That's also a very good theory. Could be. Or maybe Mephisto grabbed that X-Man and wanted to bring him in. I don't know. Le Ball e Marete. Pietro must be able to see the actual Vision to ask who is the popsicle. And yes, when they show Quicksilver and Sword, alarms go off. Very cool. We'll have to... I don't know what that means, man. I don't know what that means. You know what I've been doing recently, guys? I know a lot of YouTubers, and I love all my YouTuber buddies, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of them are super chill and all that. But, like, a lot of YouTubers are working on their breakdown video right now as you and I are sitting here streaming together. And I've actually been waiting, and I think I might do that again. I might just go to sleep. I might wake up. I might see what the internet is saying and do a more comprehensive breakdown, because I think it might take time for people to fully dig out all the juice from this. You know what I mean? So, not to say that these other vids or whatever won't be great. I'll probably watch a few of them myself. But point is, like, I think WandaVision, like last week when I did this, it actually really helped, because I watched the episode like 3 different times. I saw what people were saying on Reddit, and then I kind of made my own mind up. So this one's a head scratcher, man. It's gonna take a couple of viewings for. That's what I'll probably do after I get out of here. I'll watch it one more time and pass out, and then I'll wake up and watch it again and record the vid. So Elisa, if you are watching this, lady, don't worry about editing, because I'm going to sleep. Dennis Williams says, remember, because of the Sokovia Accords, Monica wouldn't be allowed to use her powers until authorized. Jimmy even brought up the Accords in the episode. That's fair. It's a good point. What does it mean in a post-Endgame world? Who knows? But that is a good point, Dennis. All right, guys, I think we're going to get on out of here. Already. Again, you know, we do a lot of streams. We're going to be streaming about this show a lot over the next couple of weeks, and we stream a lot about the MCU, and we do a lot of videos about the MCU. Check out the channel. I think we do good work. I stand by the work that we do. Have I seen the leaks of episode 6? Yes, I have. All right, we're going to get on out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much. Okay. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.